מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי לא אכסר, בנוד שירביצני, על מי מנוחות ינהלני. נפשי ישובב, יענכני במקלי צדק למען שמו, גם כי אדלק בגיא מוות, לא ידע רע כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני, תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי, תשענת בשמן ראשי כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. The words of the 23rd Psalm, the Psalm of David. Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want. Giving me repose in green meadows, leading me beside the still waters to revive my spirit, guiding me on the right path, for that is God's essence. Though I walk through a valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your staff, your rod, comfort me. You prepare a banquet for me in the presence of my foes. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and kindness shall be my portion all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Adonai forever. Thank you so much to all of you for coming out. And we thank everybody on the internet for tuning in. For those of you who don't know me or don't recognize me behind the mask, my name is Rabbi Anibal Mas from Congregation Share Zedek, and it's my great honor to officiate the funeral service of Helen Roseman of blessed memory, who was known to the Jewish people by her Hebrew name, Hinda bat Aron Vizlata, Zichronah Livracha. She was the daughter of Aaron and Zlata of blessed memory, the sister to Faye, Paula, and Harold, and also to Max and Diane of blessed memory, the wife of the late Louis Roseman for some 70 years, beloved mother to Ken and Lynn and Susan and Joel. She was the grandmother of Jamie, Dave, Daniel, and Aviva, and the great-grandmother of Ethan, Charlie, and Lee. Helen passed away at home on February 27th after a long and full life at the age of 93. Helen was a very active and social person with many friends. You see, the benefits of friendship are appreciated by Jewish tradition. Ecclesiastes wrote, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falls, for he has not another to help him up. So friendship is clearly more than a social connection in the Jewish context. Friends offer each other help, loyalty, protection, support, and selfish love and moral guidance. Judaism defines friendship as one of the primary relationships in life, a tie, at times exceeding that which bonds blood relatives. And Helen was very friendly. Even more, she always presented herself with a happy demeanor. Because of that attitude towards others, Helen was always described as a lovely lady, beautiful inside and out. At the same time, because she grew up in a family dedicated to the shmata business, she was always sure that everybody at her home was dressed impeccably. Unfortunately, being such a social person, COVID affected Helen immensely. It was very hard to be confined at home because of COVID. She was an excellent bridge player. In fact, about a year ago, she mentioned to Susan that she wasn't as sharp as she used to be. Susan laughed and said that when she and her friends, who are all in her 60s, play bridge, they forget so many more things. Helen probably knew more in her quote-unquote less sharp state than many younger players. Helen was the matriarch of the family, celebrating all the Jewish holidays at home with family and friends. She loved celebrating the Jewish holidays so much that she was very sad that this was the first year that she couldn't make her famous Hamantashen. Famous not just because of the flavor, but because of the perfect shape of every piece. She was a fabulous cook in general. You name it. Chocolate chips cookies, potato kugel, kegel. She was Polish. She didn't go to shul. She went to shul. And because she came to Canada from Poland, she was 2 months old. She also made kumish, etc. Except that her recipes were virtually impossible to replicate because she never measured anything. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Helen was such a prolific baker that she wore out at least 3 mixmasters. It took her son Ken years and years to be able to learn some of those recipes in the hope that someone can maintain and keep those recipes alive. So, out of all the meaningful tradition we have in Jewish funerals, perhaps the most important one is to eulogize the dead. The word eulogy means a good word. Giving a eulogy is a way to honor a person's life. It is also a way to provide comfort to those who are heartbroken. So to continue with this process, I would like to invite Joel to come forward to share his memories.
Thanks, Rabbi. I didn't prepare a speech. I just thought I would try this off the top of my head. As I was always referred to as the favorite son-in-law, I want to maintain that rank, and keep it as long as I can. It's very strange looking at, thinking about Helen over the last 40 years since I've known her, and thinking at it from my perspective and not from her family, her children, and everybody else. She was the matriarch of the family. She was, everything she did was great, and with love, and that's really, really, really important. She was very, when I think of Helen, I always think of Helen and Louis, because they were always so much together and so much one, and so much in love since, like the rabbi said, 70 years of marriage. And I think she was 19 when they got married. So it was like virtually everything they did was together. Their life was together. And when 5 years ago when Louis passed, it was, really, really, really hard for Helen and everything she did after that. But she, Susan and I were talking yesterday about this, but the first time I met Helen and Louis, it was a setup, it was like, it was actually at my cousin Helen's wedding, not at the wedding, but I came into Winnipeg for her wedding on April 1st, 1979, and, Susan said, oh, you just got to go to my parents and pick something up for me. I knew it was a setup, right? This is the interview, right? What are they going to ask? What are they going to do? And it was like, I walk into the house and they probably had these strange eyes looking at me because I had a beard and long hair, and I didn't have a gray beard though. It was a nice fluffy beard. I had probably hair going this way and that. I was probably dressed like a schlemiel like I always am. And she looked at, why would my daughter ever think of this? Anyway, Louis sat in the chair, Helen on her step beside her on the corner of the chair, and basically they put a spotlight over my head and interrogated me, like what the hell, right? But you know what, that was from that moment on, there's a thing that you understand. The importance of the story is nothing to do with me. It was to do with their attitude was, nothing was more important than their daughter. Nothing was more important than their son. And, they wanted to make sure I was the right guy. They may want to make sure that I'm going to take care of her. They want to make sure, that, and I guess it worked out okay. But they, once that interview, and I asked Susan actually yesterday, what was the report? I never saw the report from the interview. Did I pass? Did I fail? What happened? Did they yell and scream at her and tell her that, hey, he's rotten, get rid of him? Who knows what? But she didn't say. But, everything seems to have worked out since then. But from that moment on, though, it was like, as soon as I got back to Toronto, and as soon as we continued and we got married and everything else that we did, I was part of the family. I was the favorite son-in-law, after all. I was the guy for all these many, many things that I could do no wrong. I was the president of IBM. I was whatever. But that was her attitude to people. Her brother's children, Michael and Leah, they were wonderful, nice people, but she always worried about everybody so much. She wanted to take care of everybody and do everything she could for anybody she could. And she talks to her sister every day, twice a day, 3 times a day, to her son, to her daughter, to all kinds of people. And it was just because she was socially active and she cared. She might have showed it in a different way than other people, but she cared. She asked questions about our kids all the time, and what are they doing? Why are they doing what they're doing? But more than that, she wanted to make sure that everyone got the best of whatever they could. So there's many, many great memories. From my son, my daughter, my daughter-in-law, my kids, my grandkids. And there's a couple things that my kids posted on Facebook, of course, that I would like to read if I could actually see this. So this is from my daughter-in-law, Aviva, who's married to my son, Daniel. We are very sad, but our hearts are very full for knowing you. Yesterday we received the news that Dan's Bubby passed away. She was a wonderful woman, and I'm so thankful that I had the opportunity to know her. Over the last 2 days, Dan has been sharing stories and memories of his visits with her. They have been wonderful to hear, and while she didn't have the chance to meet Lee, that's my grandson, I'm so grateful for the technology and that we were able to video chat with each other. Here's to a wonderful mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother of 3 boys who will live on in our hearts. And so that was what Aviva posted. Actually, I think I have a piece of paper somewhere that I might be able to read about my daughter posted. Oh, yes. So this is what Jamie posted also to Facebook. Yesterday, my Bubby Helen passed away. She'll be missed greatly. I am sad, but that I can't be there, and that's basically the quarantine rules for the funeral of Shiva. As I've been running around my house all weekend preparing to sell it, I'm reminded of you, Bubby, and how you're always running to get us more food, more snacks, more of anything we wanted. When we used to come to Winnipeg when I was little, we would always bake together, and I learned all about how there are no sponges in sponge cake. You even showed me how to make your amazing date squares. Love you and miss you always, Jamie and her family. Yeah. But like I said originally, the love of her life was Louis, and Louis was her life. And the good thing about today is she's back with Louis, and they're one together again, and they'll enjoy each other's company forever. And they're just wonderful, wonderful memories from all of us. And it was a pleasure to be the favorite son-in-law for all these years. And she brought up a beautiful family, very loving, and very, very Jewish, and very, very all the holidays, everything we celebrated together as much as we could, being remote as always. And last but not least, I guess, is if anybody else has something to say, please go ahead. But it was a pleasure and a long and loving life that she lived, and she enjoyed it very much, and she had many, 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 many wonderful, wonderful days, and we always got to remember the happy memories. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you so much. May Helen Roseman memory be a source of blessing, inspiration, and comfort for all of you. And let us all say, Amen. The memorial prayer, El Maleh Rachamim. El Maleh Rachamim, Shochem Bameroemim, Hametze Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei HaShechina ומעלות קדושים, קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע המזהירים את הנשמות, את הנשמות, hinda ותורם וזלתה, שעליך לעולמה, בעבור שאנו מתפללים, ועד הצקרת נשמתה, בגן עדן, בגן עדן תהי מנוחתה, לכם בעל הרחמים, יעשתי רעה וסדר כנף לעולמים, וצרור בצרור החיים, החיים את נשמתה, אדוני הוא נחלתה, ותנוח ושלום על משכבה, ונאמר Amen. Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Helen Roseman, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace. And let us all say, Amen. Please join me now in the recitation of the words of comfort, the words of the mourner's Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, וילמד דברי חידותי וימליך מלכותי, בחי יחון וביום יחון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירם בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום ממרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. המקום ינחם אתכם בתוק של רב לציון בירושלים. May God bless you and comfort you. Let us all say Amen. Before we continue with the next part, which by the way is going to be private, which is the burial part of the service, I have a couple of announcements. First, if you wish to make a donation on Helen's memory, please consider to do so through either Cancer Care Manitoba or the Jewish Heritage Center of Western Canada. And also, I would like to extend, on behalf of the family, a big thank you to the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority, the Home Care Division, for the great care they provided for Helen in the last month. So again, thank you so much to everyone for tuning in. Your virtual presence is appreciated. We're going to stop now the stream to continue with a private burial here at the cemetery.